This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everybody. This is Greg Morton. It is Sunday, March 19th, 2022, and this is the weekend update for Canslim growth stock position traders, brought to you by the Greenville Eastside IBD Meetup Group and the Stockyard Meetup Group. As always, standard disclaimer, the red part is key. All investing has substantial risk of big losses, so you want to learn first and only then invest. So this weekend, let's look at the impactor. Let's talk about this week. Had 3 follow-through days, one on the NASDAQ, S&P 500, and the Dow. So what's our trading plan? Stocks to watch, sort of some examples and a little discussion on that. And then we'll talk about our last educational monthly meeting and the upcoming monthly meeting. As always, the market trend, or the M, is the most important letter in Canslim. Per IBD, we look at 3 things in this order of priority: the action of leading stocks, so this is picking up some; actions of stocks owned. Lately it's been slim pickings, but now we're going to picking up. As you'll see, we added exposure in the group teaching portfolio this week. And we'll look at the market pulse, distribution day count, price and volume on the indexes, and my coloring book. So let's get out of here and jump right over to Market Smith in the charts. Let's go up to the NASDAQ daily. So here's this week. Came into the week, started out by undercutting the prior low, thereby killing that rally. So it was dead, didn't look very good. And then we had 4 days, I think these were all up 1% or more, 4 days in a row, which is a rare event. Some people were posting about that on Twitter. We see improvement. 10 days turned up, 21 days turned up. The index retook both of those and is now bumping its head on the 50-day. So hopefully we'll see, and getting close to this 14,000 level 2, which has been sort of a key area. So we'll be watching to see if it improves, but volume coming in nicely. RS line picked up for those days. So we're looking to see, was this a true change in character? S&P 500 looks similar, so bad Monday. It did not undercut, so its rally stayed alive, and it actually got a follow-through day on Wednesday. Again, 10 and 21 day lines have turned up, come back through the 50, and now battling at the 200-day. NYSE, same thing, 4 nice days, moving average lines turning up. We would like to see these get back to being stacked in the correct order. Dow, similar. So we're not really seeing any divergence. Everybody's moving in lockstep. So that's nice too. Russell, of course, it got hit, maybe looked the worst, but it also put in 4 good days. So the small caps did well, retook the 50. Again, like to see these moving averages lines come back up and eventually get stacked in order, which is going to take a little bit of time, but we're seeing some improvements. And if we look at the coloring book, we can see that again on Wednesday we got follow through day number 3 on the S&P 500, follow through day number 3 on the Dow. I know IBD is not really talking about those, but they used one in 2020, I think it was, to call a confirmed uptrend. So I'm still tracking it, but it doesn't hurt to know where it stands. Obviously we prefer to see the follow through days, I think, on the NASDAQ. In the S&P 500, we started seeing things change. IBD went back to confirmed uptrend when that happened on Wednesday. The window of opportunity opened up, and then by the next day, everything had flipped to green across the board. So we have 6 buying days, 12 selling days in the 25-day window. Going back to the orange dot, hopefully that will improve. That's sort of one little cautionary flag. Let's keep an eye on that. And this was a day 4 follow through day on the NASDAQ. It was day 15 follow through day on the S&P 500 and the Dow. So we have some breakouts going on. So we want to watch those, see if they make progress. Some possible early entries going on. So we'll just keep an eye on all of those. And let's look at the group teaching portfolio. So we came up to 60% invested on a cash basis, made some progress, still down for the year, 6.07%, but we were down up around 12%. if I remember correctly. So had some green days this week. All the holdings are green and sort of making some progress, and we increased exposure to the market either in existing positions or by using a couple ETFs, and then an early entry on Aristonet, which happened on Friday. So these are still partial positions except for Regeneron. That one's a full position. And making some progress. So we're seeing improvement there also. So that's a good thing. So let's go back over here. We looked at those. So this week, just to kind of recap, so here were the follow-through days. So the S&P 500 was up 2.24%. The Dow was up 1.35%. These were the third follow-through day on each of these indexes since this bear market started, and they were on day 15. On that Wednesday, the NASDAQ was up 3.77%. So that was very strong. It would have been a follow-through day, but its rally had been killed. So the new rally day started on Tuesday. So Wednesday was only day 2 of the rally for the NASDAQ, and you cannot have a follow-through day that early under O'Neill's system. But then the NASDAQ did have its third follow-through day, also follow-through day number 3, on day 4 of the new rally, and it was up 2%. So these are okay, not rip your face off follow-through days, but they definitely are legitimate follow-through days. So all indexes now have a new active follow-through day, meaning they're all in confirmed uptrends. All the MMTS flipped to green as I showed you. The window of opportunity opened, and IBD went to a confirmed uptrend. So this was a pretty busy week, seeing some nice spring green to help it continues. So we are in the go button situation. It's essentially game time, but want to be careful. Who are you going to be? We do not want to be the hare on the follow-through day. It's not the green light on the Christmas tree at the drag strip. It's the green light to start wading back in, and each individual investor has to decide how quickly they are going to wade. It's important to remember not all follow-through days work. We've already had 2 follow-through days fail on each index. So our normal Canslim plan is must buy, i.e. increase exposure is another way to say it, on a follow-through day, even if you have to buy an index fund, although there was a stock breaking out as I showed you on the coloring book. You want to go slow. Scott O'Neill said take 1 or 2, partial positions, your B1s, maybe 3 if you're very experienced, and only increase as these initial buys are making progress. So strength begets strength. Important to remember the best merchandise comes out the earliest. So you're thinking, well, I need to be the rabbit. No, you don't. We still have to be the tortoise, because these strong uptrends, if they do work, will have a nice 8 to 10 week period of strength and will give us lots of opportunities. So that's what we're looking for, that sort of confirmation. Still have a lot of headline risk. We did get clarity on the Fed, and we've talked many times about how uncertainty breeds volatility in the market. So at least that's clarified. We're going to have a rate hike at every meeting this year. And then we still have Bullard out there saying some of them need to be half-point cuts. So he's the most hawkish Fed member, and he's now a voting member this year. So we'll see how that works out. EPS season for Q4 is wrapping up as of March 31st, but Q1 earnings season starts April Fool's Day. So this is the longest earnings seasons of the entire year. It's going to run 5.5 months. So after April 1st through the middle of May, we will get additional reports from every company, and I'm sure we're going to hear about inflation, and I'm sure we're going to hear about increased interest rate, and I'm sure we're going to hear about exposure to Russia risk. The war situation in Ukraine, it just continues, relentless. If we got a ceasefire agreement, that most likely would jack the markets up. If there's an assassination of that president and his family, and they're going after him, it certainly could tank things. So some clues we want to look for that just confirm that things are doing good. We would like to avoid any distribution days, particularly in the first few days of this confirmed uptrend. We would like to see subsequent follow-through days in the first 25 days of this confirmed uptrend. We want to see more breakouts, and we want to see the early breakouts working so you can track those with the coloring book to see what's broken out. We want to see more full and proper bases in true Canslim stocks. We're seeing that, our weekend routine. Even last week in the video, I said it's really a grind, but at the same time, we were seeing more things setting up constructively, particularly more compared to the last two follow-through days that failed. We want to see the indexes conquering and putting those moving average lines in their rear view mirror, getting them stacked in the correct order. We'd like to see the power outage signal go off and the power trend signal go on. We covered those in detail at our meeting this past week on Wednesday. We want to see new names that are not on the tip of everyone's tongue leading, not the old 2020 leaders that are bouncing. There was a lot of bouncing this week off the bottom, so that is not something that interests you if you're following the Canslim system. But there's a lot of people on Twitter talking about those and jumping on those names because they were up 10, 15% this week, you know, when they bounced off the bottom, which probably a lot of that's driven by short covering. Now, when I say new names, I don't mean brand new names. They can be names that you know, that you've seen over the years. It's just not those big former leaders that we had in 2020. It's not DocuSign. It's not Teladoc. It's not Shopify. It's not those stocks. Those may come back and set up, but only 1 in 8 of those is going to come back and lead again. And so that's not very good odds. So we want to be focusing on the new merchandise that is leading, and we'll look at some examples of that in just a minute. So key reminder, Canlim works better when the NASDAQ is trending above an uptrending 50-day SMA line, works best when NASDAQ is trending above an uptrending 21-day EMA line. And, you know, we could get this fairly soon, so that would be nice. I'd like to see both of these in play. So let's look at some examples of what I would say are new in the sense, some of them may be totally new names, but some of them are just not the leaders of the last great run in 2020. So let's go back to MarketSmith. I put a few in here. Just pull these up. So this is Regeneron. Let me turn off some of those markups so it's not as cluttered looking. So this one has broken out. Of course, it looks extended. The better entry was the earlier alternative entry to start building a position down here somewhere. Strong Canslim stock. We can look at it on the weekly chart. You can see the slope and trend line entry there better. You have RS going to new high. It actually went to new high ahead of price. We talked about that in detail in our meeting too. Good Canslim numbers down here, good ownership, very liquid, 523 million. Outstanding return on equity, 57%. Outstanding pre-tax margin, 61%. Very low debt. That's good. That's going to be an issue as we go forward, because if interest rates go up 6 times, country with debt or companies with debt are going to have their interest rates going up. Here's Vertex. So this is a known name to Canslim investors, but here it's setting up. It was, of course, not a big leader in 2020. It was kind of going down. Now it's coming up. RS line's getting the blue dot on it, so that's one to study. Pfizer, note these first 3, they're all medical stocks. So maybe this is going to be an area of strength. So it'd be nice to see it build a handle somewhere in here. Molina Health, tied to medical stocks, has broken out. It's right at the top of the blue buy zone. Again, Fidelity Contra Funds in that one. Good Canslim sales and earnings. GFS, this is a totally new name. So recent IPO, actually was a spinoff out of AMD, if I remember correctly, but you know, has now sort of set up steep 40%. So maybe it'll form a handle or go up a little bit, form a new full and proper base. Rambus, so these are sort of in the tech related areas, has broke out as extended. But again, we watch these to see how they do. ANET came through a sloping trend line entry on Friday. Again, is a Canslim stock, not stellar, but still solid. Got Fidelity Contra Fund in it also. Would love to see this RS line go to new high ahead of a new price right here. JB Hunt, okay, trucking, we're having supply chain problems. You think those guys are going to be busy? I would think so. So this is one of the ones that broke out this week. RS line just nicely, going to new high, has the blue dot. This one has Canslim numbers, and you have some growth stock funds in it. And then finally, MP, sort of in the mineral sector, a new name, recent IPO from 2020. And we're getting into metals here, and we covered that in our meeting also. So let's go back. Those were some charts. So our monthly meetings, we actually met this past Wednesday, March 16th. That was the Fed meeting results day, and ended up being the follow through on the S&P 500 and the Dow. So it's kind of nice that I had a conflict and couldn't meet on Tuesday like I normally do, because by meeting on Wednesday, totally different meeting than it would have been Tuesday evening before any follow through days and with the uncertainty of the Fed meeting looming. And the Fed meeting still drove some uncertainty. The market was up strong. The Fed came out, it gave back all the gain, and then got into the discussions and maybe inflation being a little bit tamer, and ended up with decent follow through days on two indexes and a strong day on the NASDAQ. It was day two, so it couldn't have been a follow through day on the NASDAQ. So it was great that we met on Wednesday this month. That worked out well. So here's what we covered. Covered things from IBD Live, talked about the power trend and the power outage in great detail. Did an educational line on the RS line, don't leave home without it. And then we did something different. We had a sort of a brainstorming, long-term perspective discussion on getting charged up. What are some potential cousin stocks in the EV space? So we know there's going to be an electrical vehicle race. I don't know who's going to win it. I just know there's a lot of cars in that race. So we looked at that in some detail and talked about that and potential things. Okay, and then we talked about bottoming basis, just following up from last month. Did some post analysis in the group teaching portfolio, and talked about having just a dedicated follow-through day list when we're in a situation where we were looking through a follow-through day. And I went through and shared what was on mine at that time, which was kind of timely since we had follow-through days that day. So our next meeting will be Tuesday, April 12th. You can sign up for that at the Stockyard Meetup site, which looks like this. So when you RSVP, it goes through the payment process. The tuition is $12 per month. That includes the recording and the slide deck. And I send out links for any things that we talked about. I probably sent out links to 8 or 9 articles and resources on the EV space and batteries and minerals that are involved in batteries. So if you didn't sign up for the meeting and want to order it after the fact, it's $15. And then if you're a first timer and you sign up for the April meeting, you get the March meeting for free anyway. I'll send you a courtesy copy. So, and the next meeting, I'm still putting the agenda together, but I know I'm going to cover sort of getting Canslim organized as one of the educational topics. And we always do the M Factor group teaching portfolio, IPO market, post analysis year to date, that sort of thing. So the prior meetings are recorded and available. If you do not have written sell rules, I did extensive covering 3 months where we talked about that, how to do it, walk through the 3 trading zones on the Marcus Smith chart, and helped you write a set of sell rules, and discussed mine as they were as on March 9th. We're always tweaking them a little bit of last year. And then other things that I think people, based on the feedback, are very helpful. Walked through a complete weekend routine in September of last year, and then followed up on that some in October. Talked about getting the best of the best. Also covered the rally day, follow through day system, getting in early. Steve Sweats came on. We talked about early buy-in rules after a rally day and before a follow through day. And then February, we did follow through days and bear market review, and went over Eric Kroll's research, talked about mini IPOs and the bottoming base. And then just this week, we did power trend, power outages, bear overview, the RS line segment, and the EV cousin stocks. were the big topics. So the meetup sites, the Greenville East Side IBD meetup group is the one I officially run with IBD. There's a ton of Canslim resources on there. Just go to the More tab, M-O-R-E, and then click on message boards. And the top two posts or top three are for me. They have educational resources, the coloring books link there, the group teaching portfolios link there. So you can download those and use them. You can email me if you have questions, or if you want to order prior webinars, just send me an email at Greenville IBDMU saying you want the list and how to order, and I'll send that to you. You can follow me on Twitter, and of course you're on my YouTube page if you're watching this video. So like and subscribe. Weekend reviews are there. Teaching on the group teaching portfolio is there. Our May 2021 meeting on the IN Canslim is on there if people want to see a sample meeting. My educational segment on the 8-week hold rule is on there. So take advantage of those resources. And that's it. Have a great weekend routine. Interesting week coming up, and we should see you next weekend. That's it. I'm out of here.